Drew.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Having a glass of scotch.
Yeah, me too. This is, Sean?
Yeah, man.
That's a big glass for a glass of scotch, isn't it?
Well, it was the one that I had when I started pouring, so, I mean, what else could I use?
Well, it is you. Well, there's lots of glasses here to pick from. You got different types, you know.
So that's a lot of glasses. How do you pick one?
Well, there's different categories. You know what? I know a guy that can help us out.
Dr. Scotch?
Dr. Scotch.
They call me Dr. Scotch.
So, Sean, as you expect, there's some different glasses here to pick from. Obviously, yours was a little big and large. Maybe not so much for drinking whiskey. I mean, I guess to each his own, but there's a lot of glasses here to go through. We brought in an expert to talk about it.
Yep.
Dr. Scotch is here. So,
right.
you know, what's going on? What do we have to pick from?
Well, one thing that you have to look for when you're choosing a glass is what are you going to use it for?
Right.
There are essentially three main reasons why I would pick a glass. Number one, aesthetic. So what does it look like? What are you feeling? How heavy is it? What kind of conditions do you want to have in your glass? Is it a really light fiddly day, or is it a big, I need something heavy and stout? Additionally, you get into drinkability. How easy is it for you to drink out of this?
Okay.
Can you sip it?
Yep.
Do you need to, can you glug out of it? How do you can drink pretty fast out of that one.
That works for Sean.
And the other thing is nosability. How much do you want to nose the whiskey? Is it really a special day where you want to explore whiskey? Or is it one of those days I need an old fashioned, I'm not really nosing my whiskey, I don't care. So keep those in mind when you're picking a glass.
So you're not going to put an old fashioned in that one?
No.
Okay,
gonna
but
be
you
hard to
would
get the
probably
ice
put
in
an
there.
old fashioned somewhere over here.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I guess let's start with these tiny guys. Look how small these are.
Yeah. Those are uniquely functional glasses. Those are great for the shot. Those are like a Jack Daniel's glass.
It's like a bourbon over there or something.
It's functional. It gets the whiskey in you, or it gets the whiskey measured out, but you're not going to nose it. You're not going to explore it. You're not going to spend time with a glass in a shot glass. So it's a functional glass.
And you're going to have to keep refilling it. So, but these are common and they're easy to find.
Easy
so
And they're a good tool to pour and measure by.
Excellent.
Yep.
So next we've got the tumblers. To me, those are like everybody has these two sets probably on their bar.
Pretty much, yes.
And when I'm thinking cocktails,
Yes.
this is what I'm thinking.
Exactly. Now these ones we've got a very different aesthetic across these. This one's great because it's got molecules on it. It's a really great glass. Very, very informative. But these ones are maybe a little less practical because cleaning that is going to be tricky.
Yeah, that's a one-time
And this
thing.
is wood, so you're going to probably taste wood if you're.
But it
drinking
looks
whiskey.
really
It's
cool.
really cool. See that Scotch for Dummies
It's
logo
logoed and everything.
But yes, that is great for your standard mixed drink.
So like an ice ball or cubes or jewels or just
An
straight
old
up ice.
fashioned or a Rob Roy or any of those kind of
Gotcha. Okay.
And not necessarily all for whiskey.
Correct.
Now you could still technically drink neat out of this if you
Absolutely.
want to, no problem
you
at all.
see it on TV shows all the time.
But there's a
Drinking-
reason for some of this. We're going to talk about that in a second. Okay.
So this next row, I call these modified tumblers.
Yes.
Just because they share characteristics with the tumblers, but they're starting to get towards some of the fluted and shaped glassware. I know Andrew is a big fan of this particular glass.
That's a cool glass because it has a bump in the center that is designed to keep like you can make a mold of an ice ball in a mold, and then you put it in that glass, and that bump keeps the ice just a little bit above the whiskey. So when you swirl it around, it'll cool it down, but it won't over dilute it. So that's kind of a neat modified glass. These ones you're starting to get into that more tapered top on them to allow you to concentrate the whiskey vapors, so you get a little more nose coming out of your whiskey. Whereas on those big glasses, especially if you have ice and stuff on them, you're not gonna smell the whiskey that much.
But to me, these are much more a whiskey glass.
Yes, absolutely.
They're starting to become a specialized. It's just like a wine glass or a sherry glass or anything else. There's a specific reason why it's shaped that way, why the size is the way it is. And so you've got generic glassware that's just kind of everyday drinkware.
Correct.
And then you've got specialized glassware that starts to get more and more functional for a specific purpose.
Yeah, and these are nice if you plan to go sit down with a glass of whiskey for a while. You can put a fair amount of whiskey in here and not have to keep refilling it. So that's kind of the value of the larger glass.
It's not a mug, but yeah,
No, it's not a mug.
you can kind of fill
It's
it
getting
up.
closer to your mug.
So to me, these are the classics, right? So that's the Glencairn. This is a classic, neat whiskey shape.
Correct.
For
These are designed for really not when you do not add ice. You might add a little bit of an ice chip to them, but generally these are designed to give good surface area. So you've got a bulbous bottom where you can really swirl the whiskey and open that whiskey up to the air, and then you have a narrow neck to be able to smell and really nose that whiskey. So that's where these are really specialized for whiskey. You're not going to be drinking gin out of these or rum out of these unless you're doing a specialized rum tasting or something like that.
Yeah,
these are really designed for that.
It's kind of a go-to for drinking neat.
It is.
But they're still functional in the fact that I can get a drink out of that glass.
Correct. And the beauty of these is they have these, depending on if you have a thistle top or the tulip top, these are a little more drinkable if they have the thistle because it flares out a little bit, a little easier to drink, but you get a little less nose concentration on there. So
that's an important aspect of all this stuff is how do you concentrate that smell, that nose factor, right?
And these are starting to have a footed, so you don't have to hold the glass and warm up your whiskey.
correct. Keep it at room
So
temperature.
you can keep it at room temperature or whatever temperature you had it at in the glass, but this helps to kind of control that so you're not adding undue influence to your whiskey.
Correct.
So last column, these I'd call specialty glasses.
For sure.
And there's a ton of different kinds, but to me, the form follows the function of the glass.
Exactly. These ones have a long stem, so you're not influencing the temperature. If you're doing a tasting with a bunch of whiskeys, they'll all be the same temperature, no matter how long you spend with them. This is a blender's glass. It has a very narrow neck and a huge bowl on it to allow you to really get a lot of surface. So you swirl it around, rather aggressively. You can coat the entire inside of this with whiskey, and then all those vapors concentrate up to this tiny nose. And really, it's designed for nosing almost exclusively. You can drink out of it, but look how much you need to turn it up to be able to get the whiskey out. So it's really not designed for this. This is kind of a step down on that level. It's kind of fiddly with a little cap, but this allows those vapors to really concentrate as well. And then you can, nose it.
It's kind of a nice, transformation between these two, or blend, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same effect of using a whiskey coin or something to put on top of your Glencairn.
Right.
Concentrates the vapors. But then again, these are again the same. They've got a large bowl that you can really swirl.
Yeah.
Swirl aggressively, get all that surface area, and plus I got a bigger mouth to be able to sip out.
To me, this one is a nice blend of these two style glasses because you've got the foot,
Yes.
little bigger glass, but you can get an aggressive swirl, still drinkable. That's a nice glass.
Agreed.
And then the smaller thistle top up in the front. So there's a lot of glasses. There's a lot of choices.
Which one do you pick? I mean, based on your own opinion, I guess.
Yeah, so if you want a functional glass, go over here. If you're really starting to explore whiskey, you kind of get into these more tulip shapes. And if you really want to explore and you really want to experience it, then you get into these more specialty blender's glasses. So it all depends on, you pick a whiskey glass based on the purpose. The glass is a tool to explore whiskey. If you're not exploring the whiskey, have fun, enjoy your drink. If you're exploring the whiskey, use these tools.
Excellent point, Dr. Scotch. So, Sean, a lot's been said here. You got a glass to pick. Technically, you can pick that one. Which one do you want to pick?
Well,
I'm going to go with mine right here. So.
All right.
I like this one. That's a pretty
All
good
right.
one.
Well, I'll
You
tell
know
you
what?
what. There's a lot of choices. Why don't you just fill my glass back up, and then
Oh, jeez.
I'll make some decisions on what glass I'm going to drink
Is
whiskey
that
out
good?
of. Give me a whiskey.
All right. Sorry.
Oh my God.
This guy. You want some of this as well, Dr. Scotch?
I'll put
All
a little
right,
in
here
there.
we
I can
go.
explore it and taste it.
There you go. Just a little sip for you. You're driving.
All right. Well, that's a lot of information to cover.
Hope you guys enjoyed
Thanks,
it.
Dr. Scotch.
Good luck picking your next class.
Cheers.
Cheers.